Hi everyone, David here from Premium Blu-rays. It's New Year's Eve. I managed to squeeze in a couple more films the last few days. One of them actually got into my top 5 of the year, so that was really cool. So I'm ready now to do my top 20 of the year. Very fitting day. It's Gong Li's birthday today. Gong Li is the lady who introduced me to East Asian cinema back in the day, in 1991, when I fell in love with her in her performance in Raise the Red Lantern, and I got quite heavily into Chinese cinema, Farewell My Concubine, so on and so forth. Then for some inexplicable reason, I took a hiatus for many, many years and I got more into French cinema and mainstream cinema. But this year I'm back, getting back into East Asian cinema, getting lots of recommendations from the film community. Probably seen about, I didn't count exactly, but I think I've seen about 40 to 50 Korean movies this year. All first-time watchers, of course, and about 20 or so Chinese, and probably 10 or 20 Japanese. So it's been a really great year for me with regard to reacquainting myself with my love of East Asian cinema, because let's face it, no one does thrillers like the South Koreans, no one does dramas like the Chinese, and no one does anything like the Japanese. I mean, they do it all. So it's very much been a year where I've been able to appreciate that. It's also been a year where I've been able to spend time on film, studying it a lot more, studying the technical aspects of movie making, the framing and the shots and the cinematography, the sound design, that kind of stuff. And what's happened is that I've been able to appreciate films that I wouldn't normally, because I love the film more for its technical aspects rather than just a plot and character. So, and you hear that when I explain why I love these films on my top 20. First film is the Beastie Boys story, which was on Apple TV this year. Not really a Beastie Boys fan. I'm a fan of a few of their tracks, but what I loved about this was the way it was filmed, and it was really a story of friendship between three young guys who grew up together. And it was filmed on a stage where the two remaining members of the Beastie Boys, via images and word, talked about their life story. And I just found it completely moving, and maybe because of my age I connected to them, and it was just a story about male bonding and male friendship that I just really connected with, and I absolutely loved it. Number 19, Portrait of a Lady, a film that I guess will be on a lot of people's lists for last year, but I only saw it this year. And it's not a film that completely blew me away when I first saw it, but it's a movie that deserves to be on anyone's top films of the year, I believe, purely for its incredible cinematography and beauty. And it's like watching every frame's like watching a painting or looking at a painting. So utmost respect for this film, and a gorgeous film. And yeah, it didn't, it did not make my top 5, my top 10, but it had to be in the top 20 somewhere. And number 19 is where it sits. Number 18 is The Other Lamb, directed by the French female director Margazata Zumanska. This film is a drama, a horror, with Ari Aster elements of Midsummer, and not wholly original in some ways, but wholly original in its technical execution. And again, I'm going to use that word, I did in previous review of Portrait of a Lady. Just a beautiful film to look at, and there's nothing wrong with a film just being completely gorgeous and technically wonderful, and a film that you just immerses, and it becomes a kind of a dream and all that kind of pretentious stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And this movie ticked that box massively for me, and it's just a film that I washed over me. I immersed myself in. I will watch it again, and it had one of the best dolly zoom shots I've ever seen. So for that reason alone, it makes it my top 20. Number 17 is Uncut Gems, a wholly original piece of work, a completely exhausting and energetic, frenetic movie with I would say, mesmerizing performance by Adam Sandler. And yeah, purely for its originality and I was going to say enjoyment, but the film is quite exhausting. But this has got huge rewatch value, I think, and study value. So it's a film that I'm going to appreciate again and again. Yeah, absolutely wonderful stuff. Uncut Gems. Number 16, The Wolf of Snow Hollow, a film made by Jim Cummings, who I am a massive fan of. I absolutely love Thunder Road, and I also quite like his performance in Greener Grass. So he is a bit of a guy to directors to look out for, and I don't think he disappointed with Wolf of Snow Hollow. It was one of those genre mixed films, drama, comedy, horror. Great score, great photography, and also, as per his previous film, he tackles mental illness in a very unusual but satisfying way. Number 15, I have Beanpole, which was a challenging, difficult film, heartbreaking film, but deserves everyone's attention. And also the colour palette on this movie is extraordinary. We're talking lots of green. I absolutely love Beanpole, and it's not a film that I will watch again and again, but I think it's a really important film that everyone should watch, and I loved it. Number 14, Eternal Beauty. I watched this just a few days ago. I really didn't have much chance of getting into my top 20. It was a £1.99 rental on Curzon, so I thought, why not? But oh my word, absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's all about, in some ways, the performance by Sally Hawkins and the ensemble cast, including Billie Piper. It's also technically brilliant. The editing, the camera shots, the camera movements are wonderful. And it's also a film that is very difficult to describe because it's tackling a subject of mental illness again, but using comedy. So it's a black comedy, but it's kind of walking a bit of a tightrope between serious cinema and comedy cinema. So a difficult film for many, I'm sure, but I was just completely blown away by it. Wonderful film. Number 13, Kelly Reichardt's First Cow. Not a big Kelly Reichardt fan. I've tried many of her movies this year and not really got into any of them apart from this one. This film was just one of those films that somehow makes a mundane, ordinary story emotionally captivating, and the movie has got more suspense in it than any mainstream Hollywood film. It's a film that just washes over you and is just very, very, very charming and beautiful. Loved it. Number 12, Takashi Miike's First Love. Again, not a fan of Takashi Miike at all. Hated Audition, but absolutely loved First Love. A real roller coaster of poetic violence, incredible plot, dizzy editing, and incredible cinematography and camera work and all that, even animation I think was thrown in. Just a real exciting cinematic experience. Loved it from start to finish. Can't wait to watch it again. Number 11 is Oz Perkins' Gretel and Hansel. One of the most beautifully looking films you're going to see this year. It's kind of slow horror. Probably Oz Perkins' most accessible film to date, but I was just absolutely in awe of the cinematography in this film. And if I'm honest, there could have been no plot, no characters, nothing, just the camera panning and shooting, and that would have been enough for me to get it into my top 20. But I actually was quite engaged with the plot as well. So yeah, it was a film that I thought was quite astonishing, and it looks even more wonderful in 4K if you can watch it in 4K. Okay, into my top 10 now. Number 10 is Saint Maud. Lucky to have seen it at the cinema when it came out at my local Curzon. I know it's not been released in the UK yet on physical media or streaming. But yeah, great debut from Rose Glass and a great performance by Morvid Clark, who was also in Eternal Beauty, another film of the year for me. This was a disorientating and foreboding, unsettling horror film. We weren't quite sure what was going on for a lot of the film, which was always a good sign of a great horror film. And yeah, I think a lot of people will appreciate this film when it comes out properly in the new year for people to watch at home. Number 9, we have Greener Grass, a comedy or black comedy. Again, directed by a female director or directors, the duo of Jocelyn DeBoer and Dawn Luby. A film that is wholly original, and I think it is funny, but it's also extremely clever in the way that it makes you laugh and sucks you in with its very eccentric comedy. I found it absolutely captivating when I watched it, and it is the only comedy on my top 20, so therefore it gets my Comedy of the Year award, Greener Grass. My number 8 is the Chinese drama Better Days, starring Zhou Dongyu, who I need to check out her other work because she was mesmerising in this film. This is a very long, epic film based on a story about bullying in Chinese schools. It's just got a fantastic story, fantastic acting, fantastic cinematography, fantastic. I saw it a few days ago actually, so maybe because it's fresh in my mind, I'm feeling really kind of passionate about it. But it was just a movie that I didn't expect to be in my top 20, but to go straight in at number 8 says a lot about the power of Chinese drama. Wonderful stuff. Number 7 is another Chinese, Taiwanese also, epic drama, Netflix's A Son. It is a heartbreaking movie about family in distress. It is a film that mixes many genres and many different themes with a really good plot as well, fantastic acting. What more could you want? Yeah, I mean, just a fantastic film. We're now getting into the films that completely blew my mind in 2020, and number 6 is a film from India called Kato, which literally blew my mind. Mainly the sound design of this film is extraordinary, and it's just one of those films that you just go with it. It's kind of like completely bonkers in some ways and crazy, and the ending is completely incredible. And it's really hard to explain. I don't really want to explain it because it's available, I think, on Prime Video, so just go and watch it. And if you watch the first 15 minutes and like it, I will give you your money back. Number 5 is Terrence Malick's A Hidden Life. Terrence Malick is back on track, making films like in a similar vein to Tree of Life, Thin Red Line, New World. And when Terrence Malick makes films like that, he will automatically get into my top 5 without doing anything other than point and shooting, which is what he did with this movie in the Austrian Alps. So he's cheating a little bit because it's going to look fantastic. But what he did to make it a solid top 5 entry is he created a thing of beauty with a amazing story, incredible performances, and extremely challenging cinema. So A Hidden Life fully deserves its top 5 status, even though without lifting a finger it would have got in the top 5 anyway. Number 4 is probably the best film of the year actually, Charlie Kaufman's I'm Thinking of Ending Things. But personally for me it was my 4th favourite film of the year. I found the film really annoying and frustrating as I was starting to watch it and as it unfolded. Then it started to make even less sense, and then I started to really enjoy it. But after I finished watching it is when I really loved it, because I realised that I'm going to watch this again and again. It's multi-layered and it's going to be a film that I'm going to study, and it's very exciting when a director does that. And this is what he's achieved, I think, with I'm Thinking of Ending Things. As I say, is easily the best film of the year, no doubt. But in my world, it wasn't as good as my 3rd, 2nd and 1st, if that makes any sense. My number 3 is yet another Chinese melodrama or drama, Wang Xiaoxi's So Long, My Son. I'm seeing a pattern here in my filmmaking favourites. I am really a big lover of Chinese drama. This film is absolutely gorgeous to look at. I fell in love with the characters and cared about them within minutes, which is incredible. And I stuck with the film, and it lasted like 2.5 hours. I was totally engrossed. I absolutely love this movie, and I will be so happy when it gets a physical release, so I can watch it in all its glory, all its stunning glory. Please try and watch So Long My Son if you can. It's just fantastic. Okay, so my second favourite film of the year is Waves. I saw this back in May, so I need to watch it again, and it may possibly slip down, but all I can remember after watching this film is that this was the best film I have seen for a very long time. I can't explain why. It was maybe the use of music and bass in the film, which somehow completely mesmerised me. It was maybe the fact that it was a film of two halves, and you were seeing two very different films in one. It could have been also that it was just the experience of the swirling camera and the use of camera work was just completely blew me away. I'm not really sure. All I know is that when I saw the film, I thought this is my favourite film of the year, without a doubt, and I doubt if any film will come close to beating this. Of course, one film did, but I need to watch it again to give maybe a proper full review, and I may completely change my mind, which would be hilarious. But I just absolutely loved Waves, and I think it's you know, it's not on many people's top films of the year. But I think to me, personally, I found it completely captivating and wonderful. So my film of the year this year is a film called Emma, directed by Pablo Larraín and starring Mariana del Girolamo, who probably gave the most charismatic and energetic and completely mesmerising performance I've seen for many years. That alone would get it into probably my top 10. But why this film personally for me was so wonderful is the use of dance and music. I am a sucker for the use of dance and music in a film. That's why I love Climax so much. And the fact that the story was very engaging as well, and in some ways quite heartbreaking, just made it into the perfect film for me. And a film that I still think about a lot, and I play the soundtrack quite regularly as well, and I just look forward to watching it again and again and again. When I first saw it in May, I knew straight away it was going to be one of the great films of the year, and it's been in my top films since I saw it back in May, and it still is, and nothing really comes close to it, to be honest. And I absolutely love Emma. It was made in 2019, but I call it my favourite film of this year for sure. So thank you for taking an interest in my little world of movie watching, and I'll be back again in the new year with my ongoing watch this journey with a new, more complex algorithm, which will mean that I will only be able to watch great films, which means I'll have even more wonderful recommendations for you. And it's been such a great year when I've been able to watch films from all over the world. I've watched films from Turkey, from Hungary, from Poland, from China, from Japan, from Korea, from Australia, from England, from Australia, from England, from USA, from Timbuktu, from Hackney, from everywhere. So it's been a fantastic year for me, and I really look forward to doing some more videos next year with you. So keep on watching. Thanks guys, and Happy New Year.
Si mi pelo es real, mi voz es real. Si mi pecho es real,